Hello, everyone. Welcome to my craft room. Today we're going to work on some of the pages and decorating, ephemera, and all that kind of stuff in each one of these four signatures. I've got some of the stuff just sitting on the top, ready to go in. We'll just kind of bump around and see what we want where. So then we're going to look at the sneaky peek next. All right, let's see what we got today. So today, this might be kind of interesting. This is Grandma's sister, Idabelle. She's the one that married Picture Taken D. And this is a picture of her. Now, she lived on Stone Cold for like the first few years after her marriage. But then after that, they moved over to Marrowbone Creek, on up the creek from where I'll be staying in 3 days. 3 days I'll be over there. But what happened, I'm filming this Wednesday. So we're leaving out Sunday to meet over there, and then we'll be hitting a cemetery or two on Stone Cold. But anyhow, she lived on a little creek that was called Little Laurel, because there was a big laurel that takes you up to a whole lot of different cemeteries. But right before that, there's a Little Laurel creek, and that's why they called her the Little Laurel Lady. And this is that Mountain Call magazine, and it was a couple of, I don't know if you call them hippies or what. They were a couple of boys, young men that were going around, and they were talking to all of these people, and they made like a little kind of flyer type of a magazine. It was soft covered and everything. I can't remember, it had 20, maybe 30 pages, if that. And they would talk to people up the creek like her and interview them and everything. And then they would also get other information, like how somebody did something way back then in the olden days. And it was very interesting. And I think it was a free magazine. You can still find them in the libraries over there. Well, this was in 1974, March. And they were asking her about her life. Now, here was her husband, D, in older years. And then this is another picture of her looking straight on. And let's see. Some of the questions. They're introducing us to Idabelle Markham, a delightful lady who lives on Little Laurel Branch of Marrowbone Creek. What was life like here in the mountains when you were a girl? And she said, most people farmed and raised what they lived on, raised their corn to feed their cows. Of course, they had their own milk, butter, and eggs, things like that, pretty much like it is now around here. And then he says, I've heard that tell that the mountains were cleared more back then. Yes, the fields around here were clear almost to the top of the hills. They've grown up over the last few years with the bushes and trees, where it used to be cleared out for farms to raise corn, wheat, and one thing and another. He asked, how old are you? How many children and grandchildren do you have? She says, I'll be 89 next November 27th. Altogether, I've had 9 children and 29 grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Well, it would take me a week to count them. Then he asked, I imagine you had to do about everything yourself back in those old days. Why, yes, I guess each home was pretty much self-sufficient. They had to be back then. Yes, if you worked a day for somebody, you didn't get but 50 cents to $1 a day. He goes, that's not much. She goes, I know, but you could buy things so cheap back then. I've sold many a dozen eggs for 5 cents. And you could buy what we called salt bacon, just dried bacon out of a storage bag for 5 cents a pound. Of course, it's not been that way for years. Back when I was a young girl, you could buy everything so much cheaper. And flour, you could buy half a bushel bag for 50 cents. Now, 10 pounds cost you $2 and something. They claim there in Columbus that in spring of the year, bread will be called $1 a loaf. I ask, why don't they eat cornbread? That's what they ate a lot over there. This is my add-in. Yeah, they ate cornbread quite often. Um, he asked, do you think people will start back to raising bigger gardens and grinding their own meal? She says they're going to have to if they eat. You're going to have you're going to have money, but there won't be the food to buy. The way it was years ago, you could hardly get $1. Now it's just in reverse. You can get the money pretty easy, but you can't get nothing for it. Can't get a bag of beans for less than $15 to $20. Now it's all turned around, just exactly different. Um, he, well, I'm trying to find a good one. If you heard much about your late husband, oh, I've heard much about your late husband, old D. Markham. Could you tell us about him? How did he make his living? The way he made his living was by taking pictures, and in his younger years, he worked on the railroad. Then later on the WPA, we still have his old camera and some of the plates. It was the kind that mounted on a tripod and had a black cloth to cover the head. Could you tell us of the interesting early history of the MacDonald Markham clan? Now, here is the little mystery in my family. Okay. Josiah MacDonald come from Ireland, and I gather he came alone when 14 years old, and he boarded with this old family named Markham, and he wanted to join the Revolutionary War and wasn't old enough. So by taking the old man Markham's name and having him sign for him, he could join as a drummer boy. This took place in what was then called Burke's Garden, Virginia. And then the guy says, I've heard tell that on the voyage over from Ireland, and early Markham made a bow and arrow to shoot the rats on the ship and sold them for 40 cents a piece. Have you heard this tale? She says, I never heard nothing about that one. He asked about the different Markham families. The old Markham that the MacDonald Markham took the name from, now they was known as the Bullet Head Markhams. That's me. Now this Kelly Markham at Kermit, he is one of the old Bullet Head Markhams. There's 5 or 6 groups of them. One of them's the Quillback Markhams, the Bullet Heads, the Big Nose Markhams. That's her bunch with picture taken D. And the Lick Skillet Markhams, the Witchy Wily Markhams. That's all I know. And we're the Big Noses. And it says, he asked her, I understand you're a Salmons from over on Stone Coal. Yes, my daddy was named Frederick Salmons. He worked in a blacksmith shop. They used shovels and picks back then in the mines where they used machines now to dig the coal. And my daddy worked in the shop and kept their picks sharpened up for them. He never worked in the mines. Let's see, now he's starting to ask her about strip mining. And I'm trying to figure out if there's another good one. He's asking her about moonshine planting. All right, I think that'll be an... Oh, why did people stop using oxen and start using horses? Horses are easier to handle and to train. Them old oxens is contrary. I used to drive a buggy and a mule to Kermit to take produce up there to sell it. When we had to go to the store, we would take our horse and sack and fill our sack full and haul it back home. When finally we got a buggy, we'd go on a buggy. We would take our mule and buggy to buy our provisions. Okay, I think that's about all I'm going to read, but I wanted to show you this over here. This is the old family photo. I showed it to you right back here. See it right there? That is my copy of our photo. It's got like a, well, I think they all have that, to tell you the truth. But you can see theirs, they kind of cropped it down. But this is the same photo, except theirs has a rip in it right here. But I thought that was kind of interesting. And I think this is their obituary. So, okay, I'll stop right there. I thought that was so interesting. They went around and talked to people and interviewed them, got all kinds of information. So, okay. So, I'm going to start with this one. And I'm going to show you some of the books that I've got here. Now, I had one that had the typewriter stuff in it. And I've used a few pages out of this. Like there's one that had a typewriter, but I used a few of these little adverts, and this was, I've had it for ages. And then I got this Bow Bunny one that's Family Heirlooms collection. And see, it's got one that's got the dress forms. It has the old scissors. It's actually got the cameras in here, and I haven't used that yet, but I'm thinking I may. And then I've also got some of these pieces in here. This was from the paper studio at Hobby Lobby, and it was that one that had all those different designs. I've showed it to you on and off, but I picked ones that really had to do with this antique stuff. All right, let me get my glue out. And what we have here are a few tags that I'm going to put in here. This one's actually got a bird cage. Now, I had thought to do something with a bird cage at one point, and I never got around to it. These are just some little postcardy kind of things. And then these are a couple of pieces that a lady sent me. Something about a chemise and pantaloon, and then corset. I'm not exactly sure what that's in French, so, but I thought I could use those as tags. All right. So what we have here, this is the sewing one. Now this is out of an old book that I've got. It's actually like a sticker book, but it's salvage stickers, and it was called Crowded Addict, and it's old as the hills. I must have bought it way, way back, but it's got all these different sticker kind of combination things. These are all that I've got left. The rest of them I've used over the years. Used all the moths and things. Here's a big one here. I've used almost all the buttons. Only got 2 buttons left. And then I'll set that over here. And what I've got already is like a little set of things that I thought I could kind of put here. This was from Wayne, and so was this. And then this has a few little dresses on it, but it's like on a piece of like a newspaper print type of a deal. But I thought I could make a pocket out of it. Like I'm going to put it together, something like this. And then I could put the numbers kind of maybe like that. I'm not exactly sure how I want to do it. Maybe more like that. So anyhow, maybe along that route. But I do need to ink the edges of this. And this is just finished photo oxide, just to give it a little bit of something. He had them all on this one piece of paper, and I ripped them all out the way I wanted to use them. And I thought this ripped technique was pretty interesting for this. I just don't know how I want to do that. Maybe I could tuck it like in behind there. Something like that. That might be the better way to go. Where's my glue? Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue down here at the bottom. Yeah, I had to take Mom to the doctor today. Eye doctor. And so I did a little bit of shopping. I had to get some water and some snacky kind of things for us for over there in West Virginia. And I think I've got some stuff here at the house that I can use as well. So I'm going to stick this down here just so. There. Oh, didn't stick too well, did it? Let's see about that. Oop, not quite. There we go. And I think what I'm going to do is to make it sort of a tuck. I'm trying to get some of that extra glue off of it. I did mean to ink this, and I never got around to it, did I? So yeah, we do not know what the situation is going to be like once we get there. So we are planning ahead and taking a few snacky kind of things with us. They do have a Walmart over there, but I have no clue if the shelves are going to be dry. We hope there's going to be restaurants and things where we could get a bite to eat. But they were hit hard. They were hit pretty hard. Thank goodness we weren't over there that time. This happened about last week, maybe a little bit, not even 2 weeks ago. All right, so this piece of paper here, I have this for. And this was another piece that Wayne had made where he had embossed it. That was as well. But it reminded me of some measurements. And then I've got this little fussy cut from the last page of the Stamperia pad. And I'm going to put that on here to help it go along with the whole scenario. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to glue that down here to make a pocket. Okay. But right here, and see that blue kind of picks up back here, even though that's not exactly blue, that's green back there. It's a trick of the eye. And then we have a little bit of blue over here, so this fits in really nicely. All right. Now I need to find, maybe I'll put, I've got some, I don't know what I did with all the big journal cards and such. Did I have any for this one? There's one. Well, I don't see anything. I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. I think I'm going to put this red button in here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it, because this sticky is old. Old. Alright, I think I'm just going to stick it right here. And it might be I don't get too much down in here, but at least there's a pocket there. Now this over here, I'm thinking I will stick something like that. There we go. And I've got some sayings, and I think I might put this saying up here, and I'm going to glue it down to where it's sort of a tuck as well. See, on the back side, that was the front of the book. And then I just try to call Belle. She lives next door, and her sister's house is the one we stay in. I couldn't get her. I don't know if she's like, the lines are down or something up the creek, or what's going on. So it's going to be one of those situations. I have to see what's up. All right, let's go ahead and turn the page and see what we got. Like this color might work really good here because those two greens go together really well. Let's do this. We'll put this down like it's a, what you call it, a tuck, like right there. And then we're going to put this little tag in there, like right here. That works good because you can still see a little bit of it. Okay. Next is this page, which has this kind of a... I was trying to decide how I wanted to use this, whether I wanted it to be like a tall pocket, a side tuck kind of a pocket, which I think that's how I'm gonna do it. We'll just cut in here and cut us out a little place, I think right there. And let me get some of my vintage photo going here to do the edges up. So I think we're going to try to get a hold of Furby and see if she knows what's going on over there. Julius is her brother as well, who lives on the other side of the house we stay at. So we might try to get a hold of his wife online on YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook, and see if she can get with us. We joke around and say we're surprised that they haven't ran us out of the state yet, because every time we go over, something's happened. It's always something. I mean, so we never know what we're going to encounter. Now, it's usually in March and April when these floods are always happening. So I don't understand. It's something to do with this time of the year. Now, this is February, though, so I don't really know. It's very odd. And then on this page, I've already decorated a little bit with fussy cuts there, but I have a few fussy cuts out of that one thing from Paper Studio. Now, I don't like that white edge, so I went around it and took care of that. Okay. This has like antiques and stuff down here, and I think I'm going to put this right up above it, like it's sitting on that shelf. I don't exactly know what I got on this side, but it's kind of in the way. Oh, it's something on that side. Okay. And then I have a pair of scissors. I'll tell you what we're going to do, though. We're going to actually put something down here. Like maybe this, what is that, needles? Yeah, I think it's needles. It's going to be a sort of a collage area. I'm going to stick that right here. And then we're going to put this kind of like that. Yeah. See, it don't take too much to do a little bit of decorating. Now this is just mostly to look at. And then we flip this, and we have this on this side. And this, I don't know if I was going to try to figure out if I'm going to do a pocket. Oh, this was going to be a belly band. Now I want to keep that, the intrinsic needle, so I'll probably put the belly band kind of up here. Looks like it's a little longer than the page, so I just got to watch how I do this. So I'm going to come in a little further on that side. Okay. I'll put that right here. Rub it down. Make sure it didn't go through. No. And then trim it off. Okay. Now the only problem is I didn't really have anything set to go in it. Unless it might be something like this. And I've got domestic sewing machines. I forget who sent me that, but it was really cool. So I'm going to put that at the top of the page. Up here. Kind of in the center. Yeah. And we have a sewing machine and a dress model. So I think we're going to put this one way down here. I'm kind of debating whether I want to put this here or on the other side. Yeah, we put it over here. This is an old looking sewing machine. Very old looking. Alright, our little dress model. I've got to get some of my reports that I want to take with me printed off. And then we also have a map that I got to look at and see if that's needs any updates, things like that before we go over. It might be one of the first cemeteries we go to, that Hodge Cemetery. All right. Now this is a cup of tea. And then I've got this that needs to be cut down. I was going to put this on the pocket. Okay. All right, there we go. Let me see about getting this on the pocket first. I don't know if this is supposed to be antique in French or what. Anybody know what brocante means? Okay. Ooh. There we go. All right, I think that teacup was supposed to be over on this side. I don't know how I got it on the wrong side. Yeah. So he's supposed to be over here. But I think I'm going to take this needle book or this pattern. Let's take the pattern and put it down here behind. And we'll just kind of stick that on here like this. And then we'll sort of put this down on top of it. So I've got this beautiful Tiffany lamp. These things are gorgeous. Reminds me of the, what do you call it? Stained glass. Don't know why I couldn't think of that. So let's see. Let's kind of put it over here, kind of like where it's right on that line. Let's do it right there. That's kind of cool. And then we'll take this cup And we're going to stick it right on the top. I think that'll work perfect. Whoop. Well, see if I can get a hold of it. So I think he's going to be printing off a bunch of reports too. We're trying to figure out if we can get with a couple of our friends over there. This one lady, she lives on Stone Coal. That's mainly going to be, it's kind of like our focus for the future. We always try to go over there and start working on the next creek and get things done for it, research things out, get items recorded, you know, from the cemetery, that type of thing. And do I have any more things going on in here? Yeah, I guess I do, right here. Now this, I'm going to put on here. And I'm going to, I've got another teacup, this, which I guess is a corset. What does that say? Null corset. And then we have a dress form. And I'm thinking, I'm going to kind of rip this a little straighter. So anyhow, we get told when we go to ask about this one cemetery that they might have on their land, we'll ask them if they know of any others in the area. And lots of times we get told about them, but it's kind of hard to figure out where they are. So this one man was telling us about a cemetery that we think we know that princes are buried in, but we don't exactly know where it's at. So we're going to try to get a couple of people that might be more familiar, which is Arlene and her husband, because they get on the four-wheelers and go all over the place as well. Now I'm going to do this to where you can go in that way. So let me go ahead and get this down. There we go. I wonder if it'd be better that way, or let's go on the other side. Because that means you can get in from that direction. So we are hoping. We were told about another one that's already in a book we've completed and printed, but we're hoping we can find out about that one as well. Now, I might stick that over here because it really, really blends in there and I can't see it. But it's on somebody's land. That's the only other thing we have to worry about. When it's on somebody's property, I don't like to go on the property unless we have somebody's permission. Okay, this is a piece of vellum here that I just put in like a sheet of paper, just for something different. And, but I can put this on it, it won't hurt. Okay, now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put this on here, down there. Okay. And then I'm thinking to put the teacup on the top like I did the other piece, but I'd like to put this button in here. This brown button. I think I'll put it like that down there. Okay. I'll stick it right here. And then I'm going to put the glue on this. Okay. Put it right there. Now this piece, this postcard and tag, I'm going to find a spot to put it. Don't know whether I want it to be back here. It's awfully busy. Yeah, right there. See, this has got brocante on the back of it. So I would not be able to use it unless I covered the back of it. Okay. There. And let's see. I don't really have anything red over here. We got to figure out where we can put our needle book. That's kind of plain, isn't it? Let's do it up here. That'd be kind of cool. Alright, so I won't even do it at an angle. I'll just lay it like that. Now I only have one more piece to go in here, and that's this Orkney safety pins. So let's see where it's a good place for that. I do have some reds on that page, sort of. The only problem is it's going to stick right in there in that little area there. Tell you what, I think I'm going to put this kind of on here, just as a decoration. Okay. I'll let it stick down so you can see it coming. All right. Well, how does that look? Oh, yeah, those two go together even though they're different tones or different shades. And then you see it over, yeah, I think that looks good. Let's see what the rest of it looks like. And we have something that can go in there. If I had some scrap paper, I might figure that out later. And then this needs something tucked in it. That one's just decorations. Our spread in the middle. Our belly band. I think that kind of turned out good because that dark kind of flows all the way around. I needed something in there as well, didn't I? And that one. I wasn't too crazy about these hammers on that one side, but I don't really know what else I could do. I also need something in there. I guess I'll get a hold of some of my scrap paper and see what I can do. All right, I think I'm going to stop here. I may just do each one of these signatures, depending on how big they are, separate. And I might have more to show you as I'm off on my trip. All right, thank you, all my subscribers and viewers. I hope you got a chance to see some interesting combinations and what I'm doing and putting stuff together. And yeah, all right, everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.